Welcome back to Till All Are Done, the show where we aim to cover one toy for every character in the Transformers universe. G1 is our light in the darkness, and if you want to follow the series from the very beginning, check out the playlist linked in the description below or click the card in the corner. Best way to stay tuned for new episodes is to subscribe and see which figures I'm going to showcase next. Once again, we are talking about the War for Cybertron games, but this time from a different angle. Studio Series is a currently running Transformers toy line dedicated to producing high quality and often screen accurate toys of Transformers from different movies that have been released over the years. There are many figures from the Bayverse pentology. You have toys from the 1986 movie, there's toys for recent theatrical releases like the Bumblebee movie, Rise of the Beasts, and Transformers 1, and then there's this one thing that's kinda not like the other, which is the Gamer Edition subline. While the name is a bit cringy, and as of recording this video they might be getting rid of the name because we clowned on it too much, the idea is excellent. A subline releasing modernized toys for Transformers designs from games. We might tap the Gamer Edition a few times while we're doing this series, but the first one we're going to take a look at is the War for Cybertron inspired Studio Series Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Bumblebee. The War for Cybertron design is my favorite iteration of the character, just like it is for Megatron. I just love how they adapted the essence of the character into this Cybertronian courier car that looks like a futuristic version of what a Volkswagen Beetle will look like one day. So let's give him some time to shine. You're up, Bumblebee.
Transformers!
With the new Studio Series version, I think they nailed the look and proportions pretty damn good. It's certainly on the small size for a deluxe figure, but at least it's in scale with the other Gamer Edition figures like Optimus, Sideswipe, Barricade, Starscream, and the others. Scale used to be something that I didn't think mattered at all, but as I started growing my collection and started displaying toys from the same eras and toy lines side by side, it mattered a whole lot more. They are absolutely getting it right here with this new War for Cybertron line, as opposed to when they did it back in the day with the Transformers Generations line where everybody was the same. We talked about that in our last episode. The deep yellowish golden paint app with the red highlights is really nicely done on this Bumblebee. You can tell it's him, but in a more futuristic form with the sharp looking streaks and shapes colored in black all over his body. Then with the hits of red, especially for the lights, and that unmistakable head sculpt calling back to the G1 design, you have a very nice looking Bumblebee translated almost perfectly from War for Cybertron. Now I don't want to dog the original generation Cybertronian Bumblebee because I really like that toy too. But with this new version, they did a good job fixing certain aspects of that one that were problematic last time. Firstly, I think the forearms are a hell of a lot cleaner here. It comes at the cost of those sweet hidden blades that the 2010 figure has, but overall it just looks better. Plus, the backpack is a whole lot cleaner and far less noticeable when you take a look at the back or side profile. As part of that original model, you have that bulky chest that amasses the front of the alt mode, and it looks better here. Not perfect, but better. The rims of the alt mode slightly tuck into the underside of the chest, making it look more angular and more in line with the scale of the game model. The head also doesn't end up looking too small compared to the body, so they did a great job paying attention to detail here. And of course, we have to mention the arm gimmick that is really cool. All Gamer Edition figures have this gimmick where you can pull off the right arm and mount their weapons just like how Transformers use the weapons in combat. It's such a nice touch, and if you have the other Gamer Edition figures, you can mix and match weaponry for some cool combinations. Now, to make up for the fact that Bumblebee is a smaller figure being sold at a deluxe price point, they have loaded him with a good amount of weapons, including a sword to hold in his hand, and a plasma cannon and energon pistol that can mount on his arm. While really cool, I have a small nitpick with the gimmick. Why not allow both arms to use the feature? Golden opportunity here to dual wield weapons and they didn't go for it. Especially since Bumblebee and his counterpart Cliffjumper both come with more than one weapon. Now I have to use just one at a time when we could be using two weapons if you take both arms off. Instead I have to use one at a time and put the other one on the backpack. I also wish the weapons had a peg for Bumblebee to hold them naturally. The sniper rifle on the Gamer Edition Starscream has one, so why not here? Oh, and that leads to another thing. The arm itself doesn't peg onto the backpack, and I know they quickly rectified this with their next release Barricade, but it's just unfortunate. Bumblebee was the first Gamer Edition figure they released, and it's another nitpick, but still thought it's worth mentioning considering how much I hate it when I have to put extra pieces aside. I was a very meticulous kid and have most of my Beast Wars collection complete, but nothing bothered me more than when I lost a loose missile or weapon. I've been pretty happy with the figure so far, with a few minor gripes, but all the real issues with this thing come from the bottom half of this Bumblebee figure. What is going on with these legs? Which way am I supposed to pose them? The correct way according to the packaging is with the wheels on the inside, but now you have all the nice detailing from the car door and the wheels on the inside of the leg and the transformation joints on the outside. Why? This looks ugly. Turn it around. Well, now I got the right look for the legs, which is good, but now the articulation is all messed up. He lost his knees, and articulating the other way looks painful. Ouch. And either way you pose the legs, the feet are going to look bad. There's gaps in the ankles, and they are just awkward looking. No true ankle pivot for the figure except in one direction, but not really. It's become a common feature for modern release Transformers, but apparently not this one. I don't think the figure will stand naturally with the ankles tilted out like that. I'm left here scratching my head and honestly questioning why the legs were designed this way. Who thought this was okay? While the Gamer Edition Bumblebee does so many other things right, it's done dirty with this lower half of the figure being designed ass backwards. Since we've touched on articulation, it's just as good as most modern figures, and I don't have a whole lot of complaints other than the ones I already cried about. Head is on a ball joint so it can tilt, nod, and spin 360. Arms can spin 360 even with the backpack and can move outwards. Unfortunately, the arms have ball joints instead of hinge joints, which will limit how much you can rotate the shoulders upwards before they pop off. Thankfully, the shoulder pauldrons do rotate so you can pose them up or down depending on the look you're going for. Elbows go 90 degrees and a little bit backwards. Waist can rotate only if you untab the body, and that's unfortunate because it's only because of this dumb little part barely sticking out of the chest. I already spoke about the knees and feet already, but you can have deep knee joints and full knees if you untap the car doors that stick to the leg. 360 leg swivel thanks to the mushroom pegs. Lastly, the legs are also on ball joints, so they do articulate well enough, but you can't do the splits with BB. So articulation has limitations thanks to certain design choices, but it's good enough to get BB into some cool poses. Maybe not as good as some of the other figures that have come out recently, but you can still make do with what we got here. The transformation for the Cybertronian Bumblebee figure that came out in 2010 is a problem to the point where I just don't want to transform it and leave it in whatever form it's currently in. The transformation for this Gamer Edition is much better, but again, the legs become a point of contention sometimes. The way the arms piece together into the side of the vehicle is really well done, and it's easy to get that part of the transformation right. Same with building the shape of the backpack. Now there is one crucial step that if you don't understand how to do it properly, you're going to have a hell of a time tabbing everything in. While you're positioning the hips towards the top of the vehicle, you need to make sure the hips overlap with this tab like so. You know you did it right if the hips are locked in and can't move while you're fiddling around with the rest of the transformation. Now you can deal with the legs, which have you folding the side doors of the car, placing them in very small tabs with not much tolerance to speak of, and folding the feet in the vehicle in such a way that's going to make transforming it back to robot mode a touch annoying. The feet end up packing into the alt mode nicely, but I hate the way they designed them. This transformation has its intricacy, and I'm not chomping at the bit to grab it and flip it back and forth between robot mode and alt mode, but once you get it into its alt mode, man, is it worth it. This Cybertronian courier vehicle just looks stunning, provided you can get it all tabbed in properly first. Those spots of black plus those hits of red highlights just look so good. The wheels are pinned in so the vehicle rolls great, and the rims are nicely rounding out of the wheel well, giving the alt mode that nice futuristic look. The front bumper also looks nice with that mesh texture in the red part of it. The headlights and taillights also look great, especially with how sharp they're looking. You got that nice panel lining throughout parts of the vehicle. While they keep the top of the vehicle nice and round, the doors have sharp edges and indents, and it all looks so nicely sculpted. And the best thing is that all of this is proportionally correct, and it's perfectly in scale when you place BB beside his Gamer Edition compadres. Even amongst his enemies he fits in, so they really nailed the scaling if you are at all sensitive about this. Collectors who plan to grab the whole subline will have no problems here. I wanted to nitpick on the weapon storage, but when I tried to come up with my own solution to this, I think the designers honestly came up with the best way they could do it. They gave you 4 slots on the back bumper to place the sword and a weapon if you really don't want to mount one of them on top of the vehicle. Plus, you have storage under the vehicle to tuck away the Energon pistol, which is better than most figures if I'm completely honest. Most of the modern Transformers I've collected store weapons exclusively on top of the vehicle, or you have to put them off to the side. Little caveat though, as the plasma cannon is too big to fit in that spot underneath, you'll need to mount it on the top or on the back. I don't have much else to say about it other than, wow, no complaints here. I think I love the alt mode more than the robot mode. A bit of a learning curve to get it into this mode, but once it's there and tabbed in correctly, it's a thing of beauty. This is the definitive Cybertronian look for BB, and there are many more to choose from out there, so that says quite a lot. I even like it more than the recent design from Transformers 1, which looks really great as well. This is always going to be my favorite version of Bumblebee, so to get a modernized figure that gets its likeness so close is really exciting. However, I can imagine how it might feel to get this figure without the same attachment, maybe even out of sheer curiosity, and encounter all these things I complained about. The leg design is the most baffling thing I've seen on a Transformers figure in a long time, and some of the smaller issues tend to stack up. It's not lost on me that this thing has flaws. But until we get another shot at this design from Hasbro and Takara in the future, I'm still very high on this toy, enough that I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. The look of it is so well done in both modes, especially the alt mode, that I can't help but look at it favorably. It's going to display and display only. I'm not going to be grabbing it off the shelf to fiddle around with its transformation, but on display, this Gamer Edition Bumblebee toy is what I was looking for. I'm still going to look out for an Earth mode Bumblebee to add to my collection, like maybe I'll check out the Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, but as far as Cybertronian, this one is all I need, even though it's far from perfect. That's another episode wrapped up and another character off this enormous list we still have to comb through. What have I done to myself? I mean, covering this first season of G1 cartoon characters is going to take a while. So like I said at the top, subscribing is the best way to keep up with this journey, and hitting the notification bell will help to let you know when the next character will be showcased. I'll be switching to a Decepticon next, and this particular one is pretty treacherous. Until then, Thanks for stopping by the JR Magnus channel, and peace out.